Psychologists have observed a really fascinating phenomenon, actually, when it comes to language.
Oh yeah, the personality shift.
Exactly. People often report that they feel like they literally possess a completely different personality when they're speaking the second language.
Right.
You know, you might be the funniest, most outgoing, most charismatic person in the room in your native tongue. Like, you hold court at dinner parties.
Sure.
But the second someone asks you to introduce yourself in English, that expansive identity just shrinks.
It completely vanishes.
Right. Your mind goes blank, and you end up reciting your name, your age, and your job title like you were reading off a government form.
It is an incredibly common experience. Moving from your native language to English often strips away all your nuance.
Yeah.
You transition from the objective facts of your life, which, you know, are easy to memorize and translate, to the highly subjective reality of your character.
Which is much harder.
Way harder. Summarizing your entire human experience in a few sentences in a language that requires a heavy cognitive load is daunting. It forces a kind of professional and social retreat.
And that dynamic is exactly why we are doing this deep dive today.
Yes.
Our mission is to basically dismantle that linguistic barrier for you and master the art of the self-introduction. We're analyzing a comprehensive guide from our sources today titled How to Describe Your Personality in English.
Which is a great resource.
It really is, because it isn't just a vocabulary list of nice-sounding words. It's a strategic toolkit for articulating your identity. It makes sure your English persona matches your actual persona.
Right, getting those two to align.
Exactly. I mean, okay, let's unpack this. Giving someone your age and your job title is essentially giving them the map coordinates to your house. It tells them where you exist in the world.
I like that analogy.
Thanks. But describing your personality is unlocking the front door and inviting them inside. Before we can do that, though, we need to establish what we are actually measuring here. The source material defines the word personality in a very specific way, doesn't it?
It does. The source cuts through a lot of the vague philosophical ideas about identity. It provides a strict behavioral definition.
Okay.
It states that your personality is simply the way you think, feel, and behave.
Think, feel, and behave.
Exactly. It's the underlying engine driving your actions across time. So it isn't your mood and it isn't your current circumstance. It is the consistent pattern of your behavior.
I really like that because it gives us 3 distinct pillars to focus on.
Right.
And to communicate those pillars, the source provides a foundational vocabulary of positive traits. We were talking about words like friendly, honest, hardworking, and helpful.
The classics.
Right. And moving into traits like confident, creative, responsible, patient, funny, and optimistic.
And those are the fundamental building blocks of a professional or social introduction. If you're entering a new workplace or, a networking event, these are the traits that signal you are a safe and valuable addition to the group.
I look at that list, though, and I instantly see a massive trap.
How so?
Well, if I sit in a job interview and simply say, I am a confident, creative, hardworking person, I sound like a walking LinkedIn profile.
You do.
It's just noise. Every single candidate is going to claim they are hardworking and optimistic. The adjectives alone are completely hollow.
They are. They're just empty marketing without evidence. And what elevates this source material is that it explicitly warns against stopping at the adjective.
Okay, good.
It pairs every single descriptive word with a mandatory action. It basically demands proof.
Right, here's where it gets really interesting. How do we actually prove it?
Well, the guide points out that being optimistic isn't just a vague aura of positivity, right?
Yeah.
The source specifically pairs the word optimistic with the action, always look for solutions.
Oh, wow. That shifts the entire dynamic of the conversation.
It really does.
You aren't just making a claim, you are providing a blueprint for your future behavior.
Yeah.
And the source does the same thing with the word friendly, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't mean you just smile a lot. It means you specifically enjoy meeting new people.
Yes. And what's fascinating here is, from a psychological perspective, this is how you build immediate trust in a high-stakes environment.
Because you're giving examples.
Right. When you anchor an abstract concept to a practical reality, the listener's brain doesn't have to do the work of translating your adjective into a hypothetical scenario.
That makes a lot of sense.
Look at how the guide treats the word responsible. It directly translates that trait to the action of completing work on time.
Which is what every boss wants to hear.
Exactly. That is a highly specific, measurable behavior. Or consider the word patient. The source applies it to the active process of teaching someone.
Which, I mean, teaching someone is the ultimate stress test for patience.
Oh, absolutely.
If you tell an employer, I am patient when it comes to teaching new colleagues, they can instantly picture you onboarding a new hire without losing your temper. You are showing them the actual utility of your personality.
Exactly. A truly effective personality description grounds the trait in a tangible scenario. You're giving the listener the evidence alongside the claim.
Right.
That transforms a flat, generic introduction into a multidimensional picture of how you actually operate in the real world.
But there is a limit to those positive traits.
Right. How do you mean?
Well, you could be the most optimistic, hardworking person on the planet. But if you take an introverted, hardworking person and drop them into a chaotic 3-day industry conference,
Yeah.
their behavior is going to change drastically. The positive adjectives just aren't enough to capture the full picture. We also have to define how a person manages their social energy.
Which is why the source naturally transitions into the spectrum of introversion and extroversion.
Right.
This is arguably the most crucial part of the toolkit for anyone navigating an English-speaking workplace. The guide breaks down these traits into 4 distinct categories.
Okay, what are they?
Being shy, being quiet, being an introvert, and being an extrovert.
I really want to spend some time here because I see these terms misused constantly.
Oh, all the time.
In casual conversation, people use shy and introvert as synonyms. They act like they're just interchangeable labels for someone who doesn't talk much.
Yeah, but they represent completely different psychological realities.
Exactly. And the source material separates them very clearly. It describes shy contextually. It uses the sentence, I am a little shy when I meet new people.
Right?
But contrast that with how it describes introvert. The source says, I am an introvert and enjoy reading at home.
It's like a social battery, right?
It is. The distinction there is between a temporary emotional state and a baseline neurological preference.
Okay, unpack that. Well, shyness is about initial apprehension or resistance. It's a reaction to a specific trigger in this case, the novelty of meeting someone new.
Sure.
Introversion, on the other hand, is fundamentally about how you recharge your cognitive battery. You can have a highly articulate, outgoing introvert who simply needs a low-stimulation environment, like reading at home, to recover after a period of intense socialization.
And the stakes of getting that vocabulary wrong are actually quite high for you, the listener.
You really are.
Because, think about it, if you mislabel yourself as shy in a professional setting when you are actually an introvert, you're communicating the wrong information to your managers.
Yes.
If a boss thinks you are shy, they might view it as a defect to be fixed. They might force you into public speaking roles to help you, quote unquote, overcome it.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Right. But if you clearly articulate that you are an introvert, they understand it is a permanent energy management style.
That is a critical point. You are essentially providing your colleagues with the user manual for your brain. And the source perfectly contrasts this with the definition of an extrovert, which it anchors to the phrase, love social events. Extroverts rely on that external stimulation to charge their batteries.
So they need the crowd.
Exactly. And the source also adds nuance with the word quiet, specifically pairing it with the condition in large groups.
Ah, right. I'm usually quiet in large groups. That is an incredibly helpful boundary to set.
It really is.
Because it tells your English-speaking colleagues not to expect you to dominate the conversation in a 50-person town hall, while leaving room for the fact that you might be highly collaborative in a one-on-one setting.
It prevents misunderstandings before they even happen. The precision of these English words allows you to communicate your exact comfort zones.
Right.
You aren't just claiming to dislike people, you're precisely mapping out where your personality thrives and where it requires more energy to function.
So we have this highly precise vocabulary now. We have words for our positive traits, we have actions to prove them, and we have the terminology to explain our social battery.
A great foundation.
But having the vocabulary is kind of like having a pile of bricks,
Yes.
right? Or a list of destinations. You know where you want the conversation to go, but you still need the vehicle, the mortar to get there.
Yes.
You can't just walk into a networking event and shout, introvert, optimistic, hardworking.
No, please don't do that.
Right. We need the structural sentences to deploy these concepts fluidly.
And this is where we move from theory to practical application. The source provides several foundational sentence structures that allow you to frame these traits naturally.
Like what?
Well, it starts with a straightforward approach. I would describe myself as, followed by your traits. Then it introduces slightly more complex framing, such as, I am a positive person who likes, or I am usually,
The structure "I am usually calm and patient" is very effective because the word usually provides a bit of realism.
Yes, the nuance.
You aren't claiming to be a robot who never gets stressed. You are just establishing your baseline. But I was looking at another phrase provided in the source text, and it genuinely struck me as a brilliant social hack.
Oh, which one?
The phrase is, "I'm a bit shy at first, but I become comfortable quickly."
Why does that specific construction stand out to you?
Because it manages the other person's discomfort perfectly.
How so?
If you meet someone and you're visibly nervous, and you just say, "I am shy," you are essentially putting up a wall. The conversation halts.
Right.
The other person might feel like they're making you uncomfortable and decide to just walk away. But when you use the phrase, "I am a bit shy at first, but I become comfortable quickly," you are doing two highly sophisticated things simultaneously.
Okay, I'm tracking.
First, you are validating the awkwardness of the moment by admitting your nervousness. That makes you instantly relatable.
Right.
Second, you are providing reassurance. You are telling the other person, "Don't give up on this interaction. I am going to warm up."
That is an excellent example of using accessible, beginner-friendly English to navigate complex social dynamics.
It's so useful.
You're taking control of the narrative before the other person can make assumptions about your quietness. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the source actually demonstrates how to deploy these sentences in the highest stakes environment possible.
The job interview.
Yes, it tackles the classic, notoriously difficult interview question, what is your biggest strength?
Ugh. That question is a complete minefield.
Yeah.
You are forced to praise yourself, but if you do it incorrectly, you instantly sound arrogant or, entirely out of touch with reality.
Exactly. But the source provides a grounded, highly effective response template. It suggests claiming responsibility as a biggest strength. But adhering to its own rule of providing proof, it justifies the trait with an immediate follow-up.
Which is,
Because people can trust me to finish my work.
see, that right there is the mechanism of a successful interview. You state the trait, and then you explicitly translate that trait into a tangible benefit for the employer. You aren't asking them to just admire your responsibility. You are explaining that your responsibility equals reliability for their company. It removes the arrogance completely because the focus shifts from your ego to their operational efficiency.
It's a masterclass in concise communication. We're delivering exactly what the listener needs to hear to calculate your value to their organization using very simple, structured English.
Okay, so that covers the psychological strategy and the sentence framing. But there was one final mechanical layer to this deep dive.
The final boss.
The final boss. You can have the perfect strategy, you can understand your social battery, and you can map out your traits to an employer's needs. But if you make fundamental structural errors in your English, it completely derails the message. Grammatical missteps create friction.
Friction is the exact right word. Even if your vocabulary is accurate in meaning, grammatical errors force the listener to stop focusing on the content of your character, and they start focusing on the mechanics of your sentence. So the source explicitly breaks down the most common mistakes learners make when describing their personality.
Let's analyze these because I think they reveal a lot about how our brains process translation. So what does this all mean for the learner? The first error the source highlights is a learner saying, "I am very friendship." Instead of the correct form, "I am very friendly."
Yes, a classic mistake.
The next one is saying, "I am confidence." Instead of the correct form, "I am confident." And finally, a word order error, saying, "I am person hardworking." Instead of the correct phrase, "I am a hardworking person."
These are pervasive errors, and they happen for a very specific structural reason. When moving between language families, learners often fall into the trap of direct translation.
Oh, for sure.
In many Romance languages, for example, the structure for expressing a state of being involves possession. You say, "I have hunger," or "I have confidence." The noun form is used to describe the state.
Right.
But in English, there is a strict, inflexible divide between the noun, the concept itself, and the adjective, the descriptor.
Okay, think of the vocabulary word as your destination, but the grammar acts as your map coordinates. If you use the noun confidence instead of the adjective confident, you haven't just picked a slightly clunky word. You have sent the listener's brain to a completely different part of the map.
Exactly.
They are listening for a trait that describes you. and instead you handed them a conceptual object.
That is exactly what happens structurally. When you use the phrase, I am, you are defining your state of being. You cannot literally be the abstract concept of confidence.
No.
You exhibit it, therefore you must use the adjective form. I am confident. You cannot be the concept of friendship. You are friendly.
The distinction between I am the sun and I am sunny comes to mind.
Oh, that's a perfect example.
Right. If you say I am the sun, you are claiming to be a giant ball of gas at the center of the solar system. If you say I am sunny, you are using the descriptor to explain your cheerful disposition. You must use the descriptor.
And that leads into the final error the source addresses. I am person, hardworking. This deals with the fundamental syntax of English. Adjectives almost always precede the noun they modify. You are a hardworking person.
Why does that order matter so much?
Placing the descriptor before the noun serves a crucial psychological function for the listener. It sets the expectation. Before the listener even hears the noun person, their brain has already been primed with the concept of hard work.
Oh, I see. You are telling them the flavor before you hand them the drink.
Exactly.
It prepares their cognitive palate. If you say person hardworking, their brain has to retroactively apply the adjective to the noun they just heard, which creates that split second of friction we talked about earlier.
And the ultimate goal of mastering this toolkit is to eliminate that friction entirely.
Yes.
When your grammar aligns perfectly with the English speaker's structural expectations, you disappear as a language learner and you emerge simply as a communicator.
That's beautifully said.
They stop analyzing how you are speaking and become fully absorbed in what you are saying. They are finally able to see the personality you are inviting them to see.
That is the ultimate payoff for you. So let's look back at the mechanics we have uncovered today. We started with the realization that operating in a second language can make your personality shrink.
Right.
We defined what personality actually is: thinking, feeling, and behaving. We learned that positive adjectives are basically useless without the behavioral proof to back them up.
Absolutely.
We mapped out the crucial difference between a temporary state of shyness and the neurological baseline of introversion. We utilized sentence structures to manage social discomfort and answer high-stakes interview questions.
We covered a lot.
We did. And finally, we explored the mechanics of English grammar to ensure our map coordinates lead the listener to the right destination.
It is a profound shift in how you present yourself, but the source leaves us with one critical piece of advice that anchors all of this theory in reality.
What's that?
It requires relentless practice. Transforming these strategies from a stressful, real-time translation exercise in your head into a natural expression of your identity takes repetition. You have to build the linguistic muscle memory so that the English words feel as native to your character as your mother tongue.
It doesn't happen overnight. You have to actively practice describing yourself every day.
Every single day.
But as we wrap up this deep dive into the mechanics of self-introduction, I want to return to that phenomenon we opened with.
Okay.
The source defines your personality as how you think, feel, and behave. It is your core. But if you have to completely rebuild how you express those fundamental things using an entirely different set of English words, different sentence structures, and an entirely different grammatical reality, does learning to describe your personality in a new language actually change the personality you project to the world?
Oh, wow, that's a huge question.
Right. When you master this English toolkit, are you just translating yourself, or are you constructing a slightly different optimized version of who you are?
That is fascinating.
It's something to consider the next time someone leans in, takes a sip of their coffee, and asks you, "So what kind of person are you?"